This video will deal with a very complex and abstract concept of time, both in human and outer dimensional understanding, and it might be difficult if approached with the human mindset. Don't get me wrong, time is an important part of maneuvering the human existence, and we're all strongly attached to it, but our time perception is a sense, like our all other senses being misleading, in the same way as touch, smell, sight, and so on. Ironically, our lives are based on the concept of time, even though we have very little understanding of it, and even though time might not even exist. But that doesn't stop us from organizing our lives based on the idea that we're constantly running out of time, or that certain things are done at certain stages of our life. We struggle with our relation to past and future, where many of our problems start. And of course, the most important one, our fear of death, based on the idea of us running out of time in this existence. In fact, we are so attached to the notion of time that it's almost impossible to imagine any form of existence not based on time. Give it a try and see for yourself how abstract the idea becomes. To make this difficult subject more approachable, I'm going to break it down into basic and abstract human concept of time, and then I'll talk about the messages from machine elves explaining the basic metaphysical concept of time and the highly abstract visuals and explanations I received from another dimension that should explain what time really is and what our relation should be with it if we want to have a life filled with love, joy, and hope. I know you have a lot of video channels to choose from and a lot of people to watch and support, but I believe that 434 is unlike anything else out there at the moment. I appreciate you watching 434, and if you feel it's unique and helpful, share these videos with others to help 434 grow, as YouTube won't do it. Also, if you want to help me out with uploading these videos on a regular basis, you can support it financially through joining Patreon or Subscribestar. It's very easy and it would mean a lot to me if you gave it a try now. If you want to make a donation, you can go to PayPal. You don't need an account to do it. You can also use a bank transfer or cryptocurrency donation. Me and the existence of this channel fully depend on your generosity, so please help me continue with what I'm doing for you and others. As always, thank you very much for your help. So let's start with the basic human concept of time, linear time, as that's the one that everyone operates in. According to this concept, time is a constant and it is measured in simple units from seconds to millennia. It's based on the idea that it starts from birth and ends at the moment of our death. Every stage of life has its definition, like a baby, a child, a teenager, an adult, parent, grandparent, and so on. Time goes from A to Z or from 1 to 100, and it is the simplest time measuring concept for most humans. Throughout our history, the more logically thinking people have always known that the basic time concept doesn't really make much sense, and scientists and philosophers have been struggling with the abstract concept of time, coming to an interesting conclusion that says that time doesn't exist. It has been only recently proven scientifically that under special conditions, particles can occupy the same space at the same time. You might be surprised to hear that there is no logical definition of time and there is no real unit of time. Human time is defined by what the clocks measure, and the problem is that they don't measure time, but rather it's a function of a mechanical device measuring its own activity. We simply define time by various rates of material decay or flow of mechanical or electric energy. We also use our sun to measure the time, which creates a dilemma of how would earthly time behave if we were to move away from the sun-earth system. Human time is relative, depending on the point of reference, the location, and the speed of the measured object, and even the location and speed of the time measuring device itself. The whole concept is very abstract, and I will talk about time in detail on my second YouTube channel soon. Now let's talk about what the machine elves showed me regarding time. The basic metaphysical concept of time starts from their messages about us raising our vibrational frequency. This concept connects human and outer dimensional concept of time because frequency is defined as the number of occurrences of a repeating event per unit of time. These messages relate to the number of times a specified periodic phenomenon occurs within a specified interval. When machine elves talk about us raising our vibrational frequency on a macro scale, they refer to us increasing the rate of occurrence of states of awe, synchronicity communication, love-related actions in our lifetime, and so on. On a micro scale, it refers to increasing the rate of flow of the energy through you within a short period of time, like 1 hour or 1 day. That metaphysical concept of time still takes into account the notion of earthly time. But the truth that I was shown by machine elves about time deals with a very abstract metaphysical understanding of continuance, and anyone who has ever had time-disturbing sensations on psychedelics will understand what I'm talking about. Psychedelics prove that time is an abstract. Perception of time belongs to one of our senses that can be easily disturbed in the same way as your vision or hearing get disturbed. On my heroic dose trip, I was stuck in 1 minute for something that felt like days, and it proved that time is nothing but a subjective sensation. If you've never experienced this type of time disturbance phenomena, you can observe yourself in situations where emotions regulate your sense of time. Time flows differently depending on how you feel in a given moment, and when you're relaxed or when you're in the state of awe, time clearly slows down. In this sense, time is simply a frequency of self-interaction, as Deepak Chopra once said. Also, when you think about imagination, thoughts, and memory being timeless, you realize that the perception of time is a bodily function, and it does not really exist outside of our limited human experience. This became evident to me when I started seeing 434 synchronicity affecting my past. Sometimes I'll find pictures from my childhood that have the 434 number in it, even though 434 was not a part of my life until I was a teenager. In the same sense, the attachment to limited time we have with our loved ones here defines our lives, yet those whose time ends here in this realm exist in transcendental outer dimensions. I discovered the true nature of time by accident in one of my outer dimensional travels, where I found out what time really looks like. I was shown a giant sphere made of layers upon layers of clusters of complete earthly events. It looked like a fractal globe with many globes decreasing in size contained within it. The sphere was made of everything that already happened and will happen in our reality. I could spin the globe and access any point in time and space to access an event that was of interest to me. I could also endlessly zoom into the sphere, going deeper into the layers of events, and although this sphere seemed to contain an infinite number of events, it was surprisingly easy to navigate and I could see anything I wanted in it. This journey into the sphere of earthly events made me realize the true nature of time here. Since all of this is a simulation, everything is actually made of tiny projections we call life events that we switch between constantly. The truth about our reality was confirmed to me a few months ago in another visual where I was shown all of my reality around me as a looped playback projection, something like a movie on a global scale. This presentation of our time in this reality is also consistent with people's clairvoyance ability and the government's secret programs on seeing into the future. I also know it's true because, like some of you, I have the ability, on a small scale though, to predict the future a few seconds ahead of time. I've had it for most of my life, but it became a regular occurrence after me trying psychedelics for the first time. All of this was again confirmed to me when machine elves presented my existence made from what they call a plasma of life events. These events exist on the life continuity plane and they happen only once in our lives, irrespectively of where they happen and who takes part in that. They might be related to each other through repetitive elements, but in reality, they appear in different locations on the emotional and metaphysical spectrum of our true dimensional existence. I was told that they are not connected, and attempting to create any type of continuity between them is pointless. Every time something happens in our lives, it becomes a closed emotional event cluster on the time sphere, and this is why machine elves insist so much on appreciating the present moment. It is because there is no time in the dimension where our higher selves reside. There is no real-time continuity between our lessons here. The background and the supporting elements might be reused, but these are separate lessons you take part in, and you should appreciate each of them. Another visual message I received from machine elves. They showed me my life as the content of a big backpack. I was shown sitting in the middle of an empty room, slowly unpacking items from this backpack. Each item represented a stage of my life, and I was busy arranging them around me. My childhood to my left, my job in front of me, a family life next to it, and so on. Machine elves explained to me that we can arrange all of these in any order we want, and we can access and prioritize them emotionally in any way we want. Arranging our life events chronologically is a very human thing, and apparently it's not the only method of doing things in this reality. Remember about this the next time you feel like you're too young or too old to achieve something here. Time is an earthly illusion. Everything is planned. There are no mistakes and coincidences in this life, so time is also not a factor in your transcendental existence. Life might be a time-disturbed split second of another reality's existence, in the same way as time in this earthly existence can be disturbed by psychedelics. Because of this, you can also get rid of the fear of dying, as it is also a time-based concept. You have all the time you need to do your job here. It might be an easy task of learning or realizing something, or it might be a years-long task of raising another human. Whatever it is, you came here to do it, and you have all your existence to get here. I was also told that your fear of being stuck in one place and not moving is irrational. You're always building and creating and always moving, even if you feel like you're stuck. Every day you live gets you close to where you need to be. You build all the time, even when you don't know, you still do. Get rid of the fear, because this way you make things stronger and you get more outer-dimensional gifts and life deals. Things get really difficult if you combine the concept of not having enough time with unrealistic expectations about your life and the sense of competing with the whole world. This can drive you insane because we want so much so fast and we destroy everything by being impatient. Life is a school and we're not willing to take part in the teaching experience. Everyone wants to skip classes. No one gets that life takes time and that it's a slow process and that everyone moves at the same pace. It is a much bigger thing than you can imagine. We're all being pulled by the same force towards the same common goal, as explained in the previous video. In How to Love, I told you about love being transmitted through us from another dimension, and it was revealed to me as a part of the answer to the question if we can draw supernatural energy from other dimensions. I was given a similar answer to a similar question where Machine Elf said that having supernatural powers would allow us to increase the speed with which we experience our human existence. And as I was shown in the visual of the mechanical cubicle platform on Caterpillar tracks, we all need to move through life at the same pace. Relax. Let life take you where it needs to take you. Take life slowly. That's how you achieve the best results. Remember that love, the fundamental element of our reality, is timeless, and as explained before, it creates energy transferred to your dimension of origin, filling up your true energy form. The stage of your earthly life and in what circumstances these emotions are created is not relevant. Your life should be all about how you feel in a given moment. That's all you really have. Your life is contained in a narrow spectrum of time and space. That's the only thing you need to take care of. Don't worry about time. What really matters is the quality of your existence. I will end with a quote from my Awesome Numbers video from my second YouTube channel. We live on average 30,000 days. It is only up to us if we live the same day 30,000 times over and over again, or if we experience 30,000 separate, all-filled days. You decide if time exists, if you have time, and if time is on your side. Love, 434. On your way out, please support this channel. You can use the methods listed on the screen and in the video description. Visit the websites of the musician and graphic designer I featured in this video. Remember about b434.com and join 434 social media on YouTube, Facebook, BitChute, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and VK. Talk to each other on Discord, Reddit, and Telegram. All links in the video description.